Hi and welcome to Ottawa English. I'm Angela. In this video we're going to take a look at Celpip Writing Task 1. The prompt that we're going to use is that you recently moved into a new neighbourhood and would like to join the local sports centre. In about 150 to 200 words, write an email to the manager introducing yourself, explaining why you're interested in this sports centre, and then asking some questions about the centre. You have 27 minutes to decide what you're going to write, and actually write about 150 to 200 words. You don't want to go past 220 words. That's your absolute limit. So the first thing to do is to make sure you've really understood the question. It's telling you what your situation is. You've moved into a new environment and you want to join this local sports centre. And it gives you your number of words, and in that number of words you need to introduce yourself. You need to explain why you're interested in this particular sports centre, and then you need to ask some questions. And you do need to do all three of those things. Your response needs to have an introduction where you introduce yourself and the purpose of your email. It needs to have an explanation of what your situation is. It needs to ask the questions, and then it needs to end with a salutation. Because we're talking about sports centres, you need to remember that workout in 2 words is a verb, whereas workout, where it's just 1 word, can be used as a noun and an adjective. Alright, so this is the response that I've prepared. First of all, we've got the salutation. So at the top we've got "Dear Sir," it's formal, and at the bottom, "I look forward to hearing from you soon, period, regards, comma," and then Jenny Mole, my first and last name, because it's a formal email and everything is capitalized. So you can see "Dear Sir," both words are capitalized, and then there's a comma. And then "regards" is a capital letter, and "Jenny" is a capital letter, and "Mole" is a capital letter. There is no period after the first and last name. Okay, so now we have our introduction, and it starts with your purpose. I am writing to request more information about your sports centre. Having just moved into the community, so I'm introducing myself. I am very interested in keeping up with my fitness routine, which has been central to my lifestyle for the last 4 years. Despite several moves, job changes, and challenging situations during that time, I have always managed to find a suitable location for my training. So I've introduced myself and I've done the purpose of the email. Introducing yourself does not mean "my name is Jenny Mole." That's in the salutation, and you lose points if you introduce yourself in that way. So your introduction to you is giving a little bit of background about who you are, what you care about. Okay? So then we've done that, and next we have the explanation. So this is why this complex is interesting. So your complex is particularly interesting not only because of its proximity to my home, but also because it appears to attract professional people in my age group. While making new friends isn't my priority, it's always nice to work out with like-minded people and leave the door open to potential friendships. And then we have our questions. Although I've scoured your website, neither the availability nor the cost of childcare is obvious. I'd really appreciate some clarification on this because I have a 3-year-old child who I have to make arrangements for whenever I work out. I would also be very interested in knowing your fees, opening hours and group schedules, particularly for yoga and aerobics. Okay, so there you have it, and each of those sections has a line space. So, dear sir, line space, I am writing. And then before you start talking about your explanation, there's a line space. And then after friendships, before you start asking your questions, there's a line space. And then before I look forward to hearing from you soon, there's a line space. There's another line space before regards and another line space before Jenny Mole. And those line spaces are really important. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the sentence structures that I've used. So we've got a lot of complex sentences. We've got some that use subordinating conjunctions. We've got some that use correlative conjunctions, which are very similar to subordinating conjunctions, but they're in 2 parts. We've also got some complex sentences that use relative clauses. And we've also got some that use participles. We've also got some complex sentences that use the parallel form. And we've also got some with gerunds. For our tenses, we have the simple present, predominantly. We have one continuous present because we say, I am writing, because that's the only thing that we're doing right now at this moment. And then we have a present perfect, has been central to my lifestyle, have always managed, and I have scoured your website. So for tips, there are several things you can do to pick up points for a higher score. So the first one is to think quickly and settle on 2 relevant main ideas. So what is your explanation going to be? And what are your questions going to be in this situation? That will give you points for the number of ideas and the relevance of your ideas. You can also pick up some structural points by separating your response with a line space into an introduction, your 2 main ideas, and your salutation. So that will give you points for organization and completeness. You must make sure that you add your supporting details for each of your paragraphs. So your explanation has details and your questions have details. Another way you can pick up points is by using the language efficiency techniques like those parallels, the relative clauses, and the subordination that I pointed out in the previous slide. You also have to remember to use your tenses accurately. Make sure you get those endings to agree. Make sure you vary your sentence structure. There are lots of different types of complex sentences that you can include. And make sure you've got accurate punctuation. And finally, don't write more than 220 words. For a good response, you're going to get close to 220 words because all of those supporting details that you're putting into your paragraphs add up quickly. If you're preparing for your test and you need a little bit of help, please give me a call at 613-614-6460 or email me at angela@ottawaenglish.com. You know that working with a tutor turns that passive learning into active learning. It targets the things that matter, so you don't waste a lot of time worrying and practicing things that really don't count towards your score. And it saves you a lot more time trolling through YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.